Okay, so we're going to open this video up by talking about one of the most, pieces of info for the Detroit Red Wings. This is what Stevie Y is apparently thinking about, courtesy of Elliot Friedman from this week's edition of the 32 Thoughts podcast. He said this about the Red Wings earlier in the week. I'm very curious to see how Steve Yzerman is going to tinker with this team. For a player with term, who he thinks is a difference maker, he'll do it. Now, the tweet is worded weirdly, and I don't doubt that it's probably written in the way that Elliot Friedman said it. But essentially, what Fried is talking about on 32 Thoughts is that Steve Yzerman is probably going to make some sort of a trade if the player that he is acquiring has term, and if the player is a difference maker. Okay, whoop-de-doo, like, why would you not assume that? Oh, you think Stevie Y is going to trade for a player whose contract is expiring and who is a bum? No, of course he's going to go out there, try to maximize potential on guys who have years left and who are actually good. But with this idea in mind, it opens the door to some possibilities. It opens the door to what potential options there are. And before we read some of those, I want to just read some of these replies. That's precisely what Yzerman has been saying for years, so it's not exactly a shocker. Elliot Friedman on any given day. I think Yzerman might do something if it's beneficial, but if it isn't, he probably won't. No crap, man. Yeah, okay, we're not gonna dive into that a little bit more. Instead, what I wanted to do was focus our attention on an article posted by Julian Trecker on DetroitHockeyInsider.com, which I think they changed their name. Yeah, this is a brand new website, I guess. But it's an interesting enough idea that I wanted to dive into here on the channel because it talks about a potential name that might actually fit this situation that Yzerman and Friedman are alluding to. The article goes out there and talks about how the Red Wings are looking to add blue line depth. It was confirmed by Friedman that Yzerman wouldn't go after rentals unless there was an extension, meaning not all players available are a great match. Among the players with terms in their deals who could move, Justin Falk is an interesting candidate. He's been having a great year with the Blues, tallying 11 goals in 50 games. But if Yzerman opts for a sign-and-trade, Dougie Hamilton, Luke Schenn, Oleksiak, Soucy, Murphy, and many more could be great fits in Detroit. In the writer's opinion, a great player to target would be the Anaheim Ducks defenseman Pavel Mintyukov. And this is a really interesting one. I saw this article, I read it, and I was like, you know what? That's actually not that bad of an idea. It's one that I do think if Stevie Y wanted to probably take advantage of the RFA status that his contract is expiring as, then you probably have a chance to do that. We already have made a video, at the very least, talking about the young defenseman of the 2022 NHL Draft, and Pavel Mintyukov is a guy that maybe could be in a pretty intriguing spot to get moved. There already was some speculation about that. Mintyukov is 22 years old, 6'1", 207, a left-handed defenseman, so already there's a little bit of extra oomph there. Edvinsson is doing very well, but Edvinsson is just one guy. It's the same problem that the Wings had on the right side for years until Axel Sandin Pellikka came into the fold. Mintyukov is on Anaheim. He's got 21 points in 77 games as a projected pace. Right now, he's got 12 total points in 45 games. He was a stud in the OHL for Saginaw and Ottawa before making his debut with Anaheim 2 seasons ago. We all thought that he'd go up from here, but unfortunately his rookie season was his most productive season. Now you take a look at the Anaheim Ducks, and he's been getting 20 to 22 minutes per night. Pretty strong, honestly. However, you can say that the up-and-down nature of Anaheim makes things a little bit difficult to process. Mintyukov is playing behind Trouba and Lacombe in terms of minutes on some nights, and Drew Helleson is there as well. So, obviously, there's a lot of value that Mintyukov brings to the game. I would assume that the wariness of him potentially wanting out of Anaheim has faded away a little bit, just considering the fact that they're giving him more minutes now, but If there is a world where the Anaheim Ducks are interested in potentially moving Mintyukov for some value, Detroit probably could be a good home. And plus, the fact that the Red Wings and the Ducks have already made at least one trade in the past year that was super beneficial to the Red Wings makes me a little bit hungry to chase a little bit more duck meat, if you get what I'm saying. Let's go out there and read the rest of this article as posted on RedWingsInsider.com. Set to becoming an RFA at the end of the season, the player who is eligible to sign an extension could be interested in joining the Wings long term. A victim of the high depth of the Ducks' blue line, Mintyukov could benefit from a fresh start and a greater role elsewhere. In 45 games, the 22-year-old left-handed D-man from Moscow has scored 12 points. His struggles this season could allow Yzerman to get him at a reasonable price and even sign him to a cap-friendly salary. The thing is, when it comes to Mintyukov, I would honestly say that long-term, if this guy pans out to the absolute best of his ability, you're probably looking at a 40 to 50 point defenseman, a guy with some really good passing, very nice skating, a decent shot, but strong hockey sense to tie it all together. The scouting report and lead prospect says the 1 and 2 touch feed were his weapons of choice, and Mintyukov used them to strike with rapier-like precision through any cracks in the defensive formation. And when openings weren't already there, he made them with deceptive handling, look-offs, and feints. He is listed as a playmaker, a puck-moving defenseman, and a two-way defenseman. Former 10th overall pick back in 2022. Surprise, surprise, take a look at some of the other guys that were taken in that range. He was taken just 2 picks after Marco Kasper, who in his own right has started to improve and get back up to speed as well. I would say that Mintyukov was at one point one of these top-tier Anaheim Ducks prospects, but it was always so difficult with Anaheim already having the 3 best defensemen in the CHL. They had Mintyukov in the O, they had Tristan Luneau in the Q, and they had Olin Zellweger in the dub. All these guys were Ducks prospects, and now you're seeing the situation where Mintyukov, yeah, it's true, he was played a lot less earlier on in the year. 12, 13, 15-minute games. Now he's been getting a lot more ice time, so he's probably happier with that. But I do question if there is a possibility that he does get moved still. And if that's the case, I mean, Stevie Y probably has it in his best interest to get a guy who's already a comfortable top 4 defenseman at only 22 years old, with high offensive upside to boot as well. The Elite Prospects Draft Guide here, this article, it says that Mintyukov has shades of John Carlson in his game. And I think any team around the National Hockey League would be okay with acquiring a John Carlson-like player. So with that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this idea here? The proposal of Detroit targeting Mintyukov, yet another Anaheim-Detroit trade to be had. I would love to see Detroit exploit the Anaheim Ducks one more time, because they did that with John Gibson. Now, of course, circumstances were all there. It's not like John Gibson was content with being a Duck for life with Lucas Dostal in the mix. It was never going to work, so they needed to trade the guy away. But for Mintyukov, who knows if this could also be a thing that happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this British Roll sign on, and bye.